We didn't have a lot of chats about like what was happening before I was around. So
Are you the oldest?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was definitely born out. My parents loved each other very, very much. So, and they were all totally, into each other all the time. So one would imagine they were excited to have a baby. They also didn't have me until they were married for 3 years before they had me. So they were very responsible. They didn't get married until they were like, and this is the 70s, right? I'm born in 1978. So like they were married in 1975. They were both working adults in their late 20s, like met through a friend, dated for a couple of years. It was like listening to theirs, I was like, wow, you guys are like textbook how you do it. Like I was like, that was nice. But in the 70s, it was weird because like my mom didn't have me till she was 30. So that was weird.
Yeah.
You know, like in the 70s, she was kind of old maid for it. Huh. Now it's like, you have a baby before you're 30. You're like, oh, really? Was that a mistake? But like now, that's why I'm like, definitely wasn't a mistake. She was 30. Yeah. And it was 1978. I mean, yeah. But, I mean, I don't know. We never ever talked about it.
Yeah. I think my parents, I don't know if my dad's joking or not, but I think he has told me before that I was conceived in a pool. And that's why my middle name is Ariel. And I was like, no, it's just because that's not why.
There's other reasons.
Man. Guys are guys, man. Even if they're your dad.
My dad's just like, check this out. I'm like, we're not like palling around. I boffed this girl in the pool. Like, that's Mom. Like, stop bragging.
Horrifying.
Delia, you were on purpose, right? I feel like this would suck.
No, I was an accident.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah,
She's the last, right?
Yeah, no, I was just sitting there going, oh man, I really hope it didn't just bust.
Aren't we all so blessed to be planned babies?
Fuck all of you. I think my sister told me when I was 11. God knows what we were arguing about. And then she said, whatever, Mom didn't even want to have you. You were an accident. You just happened because the condom broke. And then I started crying and was also confused because I didn't know what a condom was. And so I remember I asked my mom like a few years later, and then she said, she didn't deny that I wasn't an accident. She said, oh, your sister, well, it's not like she was planned. It's just like, that's not... Is it supposed to make me feel better?
Make it any better. Our family is just a big accident.
Yeah. And she's 5 years older than me. Yeah. There you go.
Are you the youngest, or are you... Yeah, you're the youngest.
Yep.
Of 4?
4.
Oh, me too. Hey.
Yeah.
Wait.
Hello.
She's 5 years older than you?
Yeah.
Man. I would think that, like, that age gap, it's like, why are you guys even fighting then? Like... Me and my older brother fought, but we were, like, really similar to each other and, like, similar heights and stuff like that. The second I got a little bit bigger than him, I just felt weird.
You mean, why would a 16-year-old girl and an 11-year-old girl be in a fight? Because they are sisters?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of... Well, I would not... An 11-year-old... If I'm 16, an 11-year-old's opinion does not mean jack shit to me anymore.
Yeah, but, I mean,
If it's your sister.
Yeah, okay, I will say...
Then you're like,
when you're hanging out, you have to, like...
You're still their age, basically.
Yeah, I mean... In families, you're made to hang out with one another, and you're generally lumped into, like, age groups.
Yeah.
So, there's sort of a 5 to 6 year age swath that you all get put in one spot.
Yeah.
I mean, I know all my cousins of a certain age range. Some of us were 6 or 7 years different from each other, but it was like, the parents would just be like, you guys go over there. We'd be like, what up, cousins? How's it going?
Yeah, and siblings know how to, like, they know the buttons. To push.
Oh, yeah.
Like, siblings know how to piss you off faster than anybody else in the human world.
Yeah.
That is it's uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. It's just like, I don't even want to almost say anything to her, because then, like, 2 minutes later, like, well, fuck you too!
Yeah. I have a hard time with that. I don't really talk to my sister right now, like, that much. I don't dislike her. In any way, but we just, don't talk so often. But, like, every time we talk, I feel like something happens like that, where it's like, I say something to piss her off somehow, and I'm like, I'm just just saying what I say. I don't know.
Yeah.
Last time her and I hung out, it hit me like why we don't get along, and it's because whenever she's telling me about something, the way I'm looking at it is like, okay, how can I like help her fix this problem, right? And then she's looking at it as like, no, I'm just like venting this to you, because I get really annoyed that she like is complaining about this problem. Like, yeah, well, you can do something about it. Quit bitching and like do something. And then her solution or her is just like, no, I'm just telling you about this. I don't need your help. And it's like, yeah, I could see how that would be annoying to you.
Yeah.
And so,
like as an older sibling, it's harder to take advice from the younger sibling. So,
Yeah.
Like, on any level, you're supposed to be the one who has it together, and like I would never take money from my little brother. If I don't care how broke I was, if my little brother offered me money, I'd tell him to shove it up his ass and be really mad that he even offered it in the first place.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of just like the way it works. But I was a terrible older brother. Like, I was a monster of an older brother. Like, I just got him here, and like my focus is on him. Like, he could punch me in the teeth right now and walk away fine. I think like I owe him a lot, so that's kind of where I'm at. But he can't give me money. I'll just tear it up in front of him if he tries to give me money.
Sometimes I think there's something about sort of like age and stuff like that, because like I try my best not to let it bother me, but sometimes it does kind of annoy me that I'm like 10 years older than everyone I know.
Yeah.
Like that, like I have very few age peers, like in that way. And yeah, it does affect that thing where it's like, how do I take advice from this younger person? And I try to think of it, I mean, now, especially like within the industry of improv and like theater and teaching stuff, there's people that are all different ages that know all different things. And so there's no way, like you can meet somebody who's like 20 who's like produced 2 movies already, and you're like, well, how do you do that? And he knows, but you don't know. But I feel like it's just sort of like we all have different strengths, and we're not meant to be alone because we need other people to fill in those strengths. So like when you were telling your story, Delia, about like your sister, how like she just wants to vent and you want to do something, I thought to myself, I think sometimes there's 2 different ways of going about dealing with the world. One is to just complain about it and not do anything to change it, which a lot of people in the world are, and most of the people I have a hard time being friends with are like that. Like they just won't make a change. They just wallow in whatever crap they're in, and they're just like, wah. And I don't like that. I want to do something. If I don't like what I'm doing, I'm leaving. Like when you see those things where you're like, if you don't like your job, quit your job. And people are like, oh, but I can't. I'm like, hey, I've done it tons of times. Yeah. Like I've quit tons and tons of times because I was like, this sucks. And I'm out.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm not in danger of anything because I'll do something if trouble arises. And I'm like, oh no, I don't have $2 or whatever. But I feel like 2 different parts there. One, the like younger people, the like age range, what does that make you feel like? And the other, like, do something, complain about it, vibes.
Yeah.
Discuss.
I feel like it's really funny, like tracing back to the siblings thing, like being the youngest of 4, I've always felt very much like I have 4 mothers. And like if I have something that I want an opinion on, I'm gonna get 4 different opinions. Like I would always, like when I first started going to therapy, I would tell them like I'm like really concerned, like even if I'm getting soda at a fast food restaurant, I'm like, well, what would my sister Heather get? And like, what would Mary get? What would Sarah get? I'm like, I'll just get water. And it's like, that's not what I want. Like, but I'm cycling through like people who aren't even here. Like, what do they think? And like, I finally have gotten to the point where they, I think, respect me as like an adult, which is like really cool. Like, I don't even look for that from my parents anymore because I'm like, like the relationship we have is what we have. But like my mom, I think, told me that my sister, because none of us compliment each other directly either. We all tell somebody else something nice about each other and then they tell us. But my mom was like, yeah, your sister was telling me like she's so proud of you, and like she was like, oh, I was just having a conversation with Caitlin and like I just realized like she's an adult and she knows what she's doing and I trust her so much and like she really has her life together. And I was like, how nice would that have been if you said it to me? Like, it's just like, it's so hard for us sometimes to be like, hey, you directly are doing a very good job. Like, I'm proud of you. Like, it always comes through like this third party, and it's like, just fucking say it to people. Like, it's so rewarding. Like, to get that kind of, like, praise and compliment. It's like just give it to people.
Yeah,
like, just say it.
Well, I mean, I know exactly what you mean, because, like, in the South, like, in South Carolina, like, you get everything kind of secondhand, because there's this sort of, like, people don't want you to get too uppity or full of yourself. Like, they don't want your head to get too big. Uppity, I miss that word. I don't hear it enough.
She's real uppity.
Everywhere, yeah. But, like, there were, like, these little times where I would just, like, I have, like, a set of older half-siblings that, never really call them half-siblings. They always just, like, my older brothers and sisters. But I remember the day where my older brothers realized I wasn't gay. And they never said anything.
I'm sorry, realized you were not gay?
Yeah.
For a period of time? Did many people believe that you were gay?
Yeah. And my whole family thought I was. I was a little kind of like soft, little kind of well-read, kind of limp-wristed kid. Huh. And, no, it was one of those things where I ended up sleeping with a girl that went to high school with one of my older brothers. Okay. That my older brother wanted to have had relations with. And, it was one of those things where he was just so glad I wasn't gay that the whole rest of it sort of like dissipated. Like he would have been really mad at anybody else and like insulted, but like the fact that I wasn't gay, it was just this weird conflicted like kind of just thing he did. He's like, all right, okay, like, kind of thing, and I was like, there it is. That's the moment. That's how I proved to him. Not that I even really cared in the first place, but like that was this weird separation between us for a long time, and but he never said it. Like, it was just constantly, like, it got really bad one time because I did George Michael's at a karaoke. I did Wham at a karaoke. And all of a sudden, like, I saw a bunch of his friends want to say something, and he kept them away from me. Like, he was like, no, fuck you guys. This is what my brother does. Leave it alone. Let him do his thing. Oh. So it was like, he was all right with it, but, like, he still, like, I don't know.
That's so funny.
Yeah, and... That was me seeing he was proud of me. Was just like conflicted about wanting to hit me because I was a man all of a sudden, a straight man that did something he couldn't, and I don't know. Yeah.
Flip side of that, I remember my like whole family has always been very like, we went to Unitarian Universalist church when I was growing up, and I was raised vegetarian, and like I was born when my dad was like, he went to California for one of the first times and was like, look at all these things we can do. And he was like really inspired. But like, I always was raised like, Caitlin, if you're gay, like, we still love you. Like, it's okay. And, I remember being in like college and like having like conflicts with my relationship and like not really sure what to do. And I remember my dad being like, I would be totally pleased if you came home with a nice girl. He's like, I don't care. Like, he's like, I would probably prefer it if you came home with a nice girl. Like, my dad was always like, are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to be a lesbian?
I can speak to that. That sounds, and I don't know why, it might be insulting, but that sounds much easier to deal with. I don't know, because I remember, like, my dad saying to me one day, yeah, because guys are monsters. Guys are terrible people. Like, I would,
you don't want more men around your house.
Yeah, but there's the difference between a family that says, you need to be the way we want you to be, versus you can be the way you want to be. That being said, I to a certain extent, it sounds like they were like, maybe you should be a lesbian. Yeah. Get a girlfriend. Just try it out. Like, seriously, just one time.
Well, because for a long
time, who's this dude? Get out of here.
More girls. Like when I started high school, actually, there was a rumor that I was a lesbian, which like happens to girls who are under the radar and like aren't weird enough to pick on, but like aren't cool enough to be cool. And so, like, I had a very close best friend in middle school, and when we got to high school, she gave me, like, 5-page front and back letter and a mix CD with a lot of Goo Goo Dolls on it. The letter was just like, you're too good for me, like, I'm gonna bring you down, we can't be friends anymore, like, we can't talk. And I was like, what the hell? I'm like, that's a weird fight to be in, I don't know. And someone came up to me on the first day of high school and was like, how are you doing?
Oh.
And I'm like, fine. They're like, I heard that you and Allie broke up. And I was like, we're in a fight? I don't know. And I was like, oh no, I had a girlfriend. I was like, I didn't know. I would like make out with a lot of friends in 8th grade. Like, we were all just experimenting and having fun. And I was like, oh no!
And then just held on to that a little longer. Then,
But like my biggest problem with it wasn't like I didn't know that she thought that was what was happening. I was like, I was such a shitty girlfriend.